Hello and welcome once again. This is Zimbabwe Daily, and we bring to you In Pursuit of Social Justice, a program where we want to understand how better we can service each other in our country, how best to distribute our resources, and what better ways to build a nation that is anchored on development, and development. Join me after this short break as I introduce to you my guest for today. Welcome back. This is Zimbabwe Daily, and today on the program In Pursuit of Social Justice, we have invited the General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Catering and Hotel Workers Union. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. My name is Enock Mahari. I'm the General Secretary for the Zimbabwe Catering and Hotel Workers Union.
Right. Tell us a little bit about that union that you're representing.
This is a union that was formed way back in 1959 with the workers working in the hotels, deciding that they should have the unions of the mines to enhance their protection, since they discovered that they were the weaker people who cannot fight against their employers as individuals.
Right.
So they came together and formed this union to represent themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, who of these workers are you representing? The hotel side, yes, the catering side, but who exactly?
Thank you very much. If you look at the definition there, it says, yes, the hotels, these are restaurants, takeaways, fast foods, the nightclubs, anything that is good to do with leisure is also covered under the catering industry. Those who even work in golf clubs, they are covered under the catering industry.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And when we are looking at your sector, how is it affected, by the things that are happening right now? We've got COVID-19 and etc. How are the workers in that sector affected?
Thank you very much. This was a very serious blow in terms of our industry. When the COVID thing came into our country and the president declared a lockdown, the catering industry was on a complete lockdown. It was not declared as an essential service. So what it therefore meant is that all workers in the catering industry have not been going to work.
I see.
They were all at home. There was no food on the table for the employees. Some employers could not even pay their employees during that period, which we were in the lockdown. And up to now, there are other employees who are still at home. A very good example. We talk of those who work under casinos, who work under bars and nightclubs. They are still at home.
Right, because essentially those services are closed.
Yes.
Right. And now with the reopening of domestic tourism, and people can now gather, about 100 people can gather and stuff like that. Are we seeing the sector opening up?
We haven't seen much opening up. Yes, the airlines are coming, but with very few guests coming into the country.
Right.
The locals, yes, here and there, but if you go to even places like Victoria Falls, there's very, very, very little activities happening there. So most workers are still at home.
Right.
They are not being remunerated, which poses a challenge to them. And the other challenge is that even if you talk to the employers that no, this is a supervailing impossibility, workers have a right to receive salaries. The employers are saying they cannot afford to pay employees who are seated at home,
Right.
which has become a very big challenge.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, General Secretary. We want to take a short break, and when we come back, we want to go into more details in terms of how this sector has been affected by the COVID-19.
Thank you.
Right. Welcome back. Welcome back once again. This is Zimbabwe Daily, and we are bringing to you In Pursuit of Social Justice, a program that we bring together so that we are able to understand how best we can help each sector to achieve the kind of nation that we want to build. Remember, we are saying that Zimbabwe is where it is because it's large. We have industries and institutions operating in silos. But we want to now come together and say, what is the challenge that each sector is facing? What kind of resources do they need in order for them to develop? So this is the kind of conversation we are currently having on Zimbabwe Daily. My name is Yvonne Muchaka, and in the studio we have the General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Catering and Hotel Workers Union, Mr. Mahari. Now, you were talking about how most of these hotels, takeaways, restaurants have not fully opened up because of the COVID-19. What effects has this had on the workers?
Thank you very much. The effects that it has on the workers, failure by some of the employers to provide um, the, the PP for their employees to use. I think you would appreciate that our work involves getting in contact with guests when they come in the hotels, either they are checking in or either they are being served in the restaurant. Employers are failing to provide the employees with the needed protective cloth. Neither are they also educating their employees on how to prevent themselves from these diseases. Our challenge now comes where these employees knock off, they go home, they meet their family members without having been protected, which means the disease also then be transferred to the family members,
Right.
which has posed a very big challenge to us.
Do you, as a union, do you feel that the industry itself has been cushioned against that? I know you're talking about the issue of PPEs and stuff like that. I mean, that's one side of the thing, because, like you've said, that many of the people in that sector are still stuck at home without even a salary and stuff like that. How has this industry been cushioned against this COVID-19? We're talking of reducing poverty levels in our country. And the biggest challenge that we've had is that a lot of people lost incomes, and clearly workers within that sector lost their own incomes. I remember during the COVID-19, one of our neighbor who works in a hotel had to look for another job to do during the COVID-19 that was offering essential services in order for her to cushion her family. Now, has that industry now been protected somehow? Is there a social grant that has been, afforded to your industry to make sure that the workers are at least, able to go through this tough season?
Not really. We have heard that the government uh, has set aside some funds which will then be used to cushion the industry, but we have not heard any employer saying that
Confirming
he
that they
has.
actually received it.
Yes, exactly. So, by the virtue of that, which means each employer is depending from the little resources that is actually getting, and from
Right.
that little, he then has to extend it to pay his salaries and any other overheads that he has to pay, making our negotiations very difficult because the employers are saying we are not making any revenue.
Right.
But on the other side, if you look at the fast foods that we have been talking about, it's something different. Um, the employers are making money.
Right.
A very good example, if you look at the Simbisa brand, the Insco, if you go there, you can see queues, the chicken slice, they're making money.
Okay.
This is a clear indication that there is business. But when it comes to paying salaries, now they are not remunerating their employees well.
Right.
To those that are who are also remunerating their employees, they don't want that cushioning allowance to be actually be negotiated by the union. They'll give their employees as an allowance to the extent that even if you are retrenched, that money will not be used as the basis to present
Right.
yourself
Right.
for negotiations in order for you to get a reasonable package as you leave the industry. You will then come back and say your minimum for the industry is as per the CBA, which is far less than what you'll be offering his employees.
What is the minimum by the CBA?
The current minimum, as we speak, stands at without allowances, that's 5,100
RTGS.
RTGS.
Right. That's actually quite a depressing figure,
Yeah.
if I can say, because I think um, the what you call it, the minimum wage, or is it
The poverty that I'm like,
poverty data line is placed somewhere
it's
around
placed around
18 or so
19,000
which I think
RTGS.
has also needs to be reviewed upwards, because essentially with 18,000 RTGS, you maybe pay rent. And that's it. What about transport? What about food? What about all the other things that one needs to? So we'll take another short break, and when we come back, we want to learn what the union is doing in order to push for the rights of the workers within the hotel and catering industry.
Thank you.
Right, welcome back. We are coming to you live on our Zoom Daily platform. Please keep on sending us messages. Do send us your feedback, your understanding of the things that we're talking about. This is In Pursuit of Social Justice, a program where we look at how best we can distribute our resources so that everybody in our country is able to benefit. Today, we have the General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Catering and Hotel Workers Union, Mr. Mahari, and he's just highlighting some of the major challenges that the workers have been facing, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, General Secretary, I'll just come in general, right, before this whole pandemic came and stuff like that. Was the industry facing any other challenge?
The challenges have always been there. Um, Challenges like dismissal of workers, challenges like retrenchments have been there, but the only difference now is when COVID came in, the margin became too big.
Right.
But we were still facing challenges of retrenchments, where employees were being retrenched. The other challenges are those probably to bring the employers at the table to negotiate for a
Right.
meaningful salary. I've spoken of a salary that is pegged at
5,000.
5,000. You would still see that the gap is still very big. So
Right.
even before the COVID, the employers had an attitude of refusing to negotiate a meaningful salary that would enable an employee to actually pay his own rentals, send the kids to school,
Right.
or even spare some money in order for you to do any other thing that you may intend to do.
Right.
Once you receive a salary before the month end, you are left with nothing. Yes.
And how does that affect, the delivery of the service? The worker has to come, they're facing all these challenges that you've just talked about, and they're supposed to be in the service industry. Now, the output, how is that affected by all these factors that you mentioned?
I'll mention a word here which we call union bashing, which is being done by the employers, in
Right.
the sense that there are other employers who can give their employees transport to come to work.
Right.
And those who knock off very late in the evening, they are also provided with transport. Those that does not extend their hand to that level, what they do is that they will give you money for transport. But look, it's just for you to come to work.
Right.
To some other employers, they don't even consider that. From the little that you are getting, they'll consider you to still fork out money to cover for your transport,
Right.
which at the end of the day, by the month end, the employee will be struggling to actually come to work.
Right. It's okay. Let's move away from all this depressing information that you're giving me, because it's actually sad that you have people who are employed and yet not being able to sustain their livelihood. Now, I want to move to then say, then what? As a union, what are you pushing for? You've mentioned the challenges of
Yes.
negotiating for a
Yes,
salary
yes,
because
yes.
of the current state of things, but it's not always going to be like that. We've seen, the Victoria Falls is opening up, local tourism, domestic tourism is being encouraged, and as people are looking at the holidays, clearly it's going to, after 8 months under lockdown, I think people would want to go out. So we expect to see a boom during this festive season. Now, what is the best form of reprieve that the workers that you represent can get from their employers in this season?
The reprieve that they can get um, from the collectiveness that you have been talking about
Right.
is to still engage the employer to negotiate for salaries. When you negotiate for salaries, you are trying to make the employers understand that what they are giving you is not enough. But you notice that even if the employers refuse and you resort to use other forms to push the employer to give you a salary, which is either through going to the courts.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
you will notice that our courts are no longer friendly these days, because to a certain extent, the people who preside over the case, some of them are also employers. And some
Right.
some of them also own the same businesses. So you
Right.
may find, even if you go to court, the judgment may take so many months to come out. Things are going up. So that becomes a very difficult, scenario. You can't mobilize workers as we speak to say, let's go for a collective job action. Most workers fear to lose their employment. Because
Right.
once you don't go to work, the next thing is that the employer is saying, well, we terminate. And the biggest challenge, particularly in the catering industry that we are talking about, is most employers now are taking the students from the colleges
Right.
and use them to do the work that was supposed to be done by permanent employees.
Right. You talk about casualization
Yes.
of the industry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Casualization has come in the sense that even the permanent employees now, when the employer terminates your contract of employment, he can still take you probably for just for some few days or for 1 month. And when they do that, they will tell you that this is what I can afford to pay you.
Right.
If you make this a labor dispute, I'll terminate your contract of employment. And most workers are scared to come and report where unfair labor practice is being done by their employers.
Right. Right. Oh my God, this is so sad. I think of all the the programs that I've done of in pursuit of social justice, this has been quite a depressing conversation. I think largely because of most of the issues that you're highlighting. Because now I see as if the people who are serving in that particular industry are being threatened. And with the state of things, our economy, everybody wants to maintain an income. Yeah, but then if we continue to say the courts are no longer friendly, if we say that the employers are threatening, the employees with loss of income, with loss of jobs, the issue of casualization, like you said, you've been retrenched, but you're called back to work on a to work. Yeah, so it's I don't know what they call it in business, but we just agree that you're going to save me for the weekend. I'll pay you so much. You really don't have much of way to go after that. Now, what then should be done? What in where do we go? Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that social justice prevails across the board. What should be done? Union.
You are very right. What the union is doing in partnership with other unions through our mother body, the CTU, we have got a tripartite negotiating forum. I think you have heard about it,
Right.
where we are trying to engage also government to understand the challenges that workers are getting in Zimbabwe. I think you remember that there was a minimum wage which was gazetted by government some time back.
Right.
It was as a result that government had also noticed that the salaries which workers were getting were far, far below the poverty line. And in order for government to cushion through, they decided to come up with a minimum, which of course wasn't even enough.
Right. The minimum needs to be reviewed.
Yes. So this is another forum that we engage employers at that level to try and push them to come up with a meaningful or a reasonable salary.
Right. Thank you so much, General Secretary, for this conversation that we just had. I'm sure if you've been following from the onset, it's just such a sad scenario that we find ourselves in. And I hope in the long run, Zimbabwe will be able to rise out of the doldrums that we currently find ourselves. It is a constitutional right for somebody to demonstrate and to show when they are not approving of whatever is happening. But we have made that right another point of contention. You demonstrate, you lose your job, and we are raising. You are raising a fearful generation. We are also, socializing fear into the next generation, and I think that really needs to be dealt with. Thank you so much, General Secretary, for your time.
Thank you as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Zimbabwe, for joining us. This is In Pursuit of Social Justice. We continue to bring you more on these and other issues as we pursue. I think the most interesting conversation is coming up, so make sure to tune in again as we speak to the Urban Councils Union so that we get to understand what the workers in that particular sector are going through. My name is Yvonne Chaka, and this is In Pursuit of Social Justice. Have a wonderful day.